All right, so we're gonna do a deep dive of vendor management. In JobTread, you can access your vendors at any point through the vendors list. This is gonna be all of your vendors right now. So you can certainly set up different views here. These are gonna be custom views to focus on a certain subset of your suppliers or your subcontractors, or maybe you wanna see all of the people in the electrical field or plumbing. That's going to be handled through a combination of custom fields and custom views. That is a separate video, but we can definitely show you how to dive deeper into those things. The point right here is to come up with a list of all the people that you are paying money to in order to complete projects. Again, this is both your subs, your suppliers, and even other entities like the city, if you're pulling permits and things like that. So the way you add a new vendor, in the very top right, click New Vendor, and this is going to ask you for the name. So in this case, maybe it's JR Electrical, the account email as well, phone number. These are optional fields, but of course, very helpful to kind of track, just to keep a record of it. The type, everything we see kind of below here, these are all going to be custom fields that we added in our settings. So the point of this is that you can add whatever information or fields that you're trying to track, and then you can input those fields when you're creating new vendors in the system. So really important thing to identify here. The account name can be the company, so JR Electrical might have multiple employees. If that's the case, then you're going to add contacts here. These are the individuals that you're working with. If you just work with Joe in a truck, you can just put his name in here and certainly put the email and phone. But if you do want to track multiple contacts, I think it's important to go in here and say, Joe Buck, his title, maybe he's the owner. The email address is joe@jrelectrical.com, and his specific phone number as well. You can also add additional custom fields here too if you're trying to track more about these contacts. But the location is going to be, where the business is centered. I mean, frankly, the location is not as important on the vendors as it is for your customers, simply because with your customers, that's the job site, right? Where the vendors, they kind of come to you and do the work, but you can always enter a location for them as well. When you see a match come across, just click on it and you can create the vendor in the system. So one really important thing here is the notion of files. So for your vendors, definitely want to track their insurance. You definitely want to track their W-9, and storing it here is just going to make life so much easier. Kind of put it in one place so you don't have to search through 2-year-old emails trying to find a record of something for tax purposes. You also can, though, kind of add comments. So if you wanted to go say, vendor didn't show today, just keeping a history of all your interactions with the vendor. But you can also see every document you sent them in the past. This is going to be bid requests, work orders, and all the bills you've logged for them. And then you could see their multiple locations if they have more than one. So on this page, if you also wanted to add additional contacts, you could do so by clicking Add Contact. And yep, you have all the information about the vendor just listed right here along the right-hand side. If you ever need to make changes to an existing vendor, just click Edit, and you can make all the adjustments right here. But I really want to focus on just for a moment the notion of custom fields. So it's very important to set up the custom fields under Settings and Custom Fields for your vendor accounts, because this allows you to track that additional information, like whether they're a sub or a supplier, or what is their trade. We have an additional video that covers the creation of custom fields. Just want to note though, for your vendors, it's a really important thing to do because it allows you to classify them in a way that makes sense. Something one of our customers did a while back that I thought was pretty smart is they actually added a quality rating or a level of trust as a custom field here. And what this allows them to do on the vendor list is they created the custom view. They could see all of their electricians, but then it was sorted by the level of trust they had for each vendor. So it's a cool way to use the system, and it allows you to, make it a little bit easier to figure out who's going to be the right person for the job moving forward. So adding these vendors into the system is really helpful, because when you're logging bid requests, when you're sending those off, when you're sending off POs and work orders, and when you're logging bills, you have this preset list of people to choose from. You don't have to create everything on the fly. Just going to make life a lot easier, and it's going to help you organize things as well. So in addition to that, if you happen to have an Excel spreadsheet or some other system where your vendor list is stored, shoot it along to support@jobtread.com. We'll import it for you. Don't try to be a hero and kind of create all these yourself. We'll knock it out for you and cut out a lot of that legwork. So any questions, feel free to reach out, support@jobtread.com. Thank you so much. Talk soon.